Okay, class, so this is the video for lesson 90 in our pre-algebra book. Pause this at any point that you need to make your notes in your notebook, okay? I'm going to go through the slides like we normally do in class. Our lesson today is on sets. Now, there's a lot of symbols and terminology that you may not be familiar with, okay? So make sure you have your books open to lesson 90, okay? So we'll get started on sets, and just make sure to pause when you need to get something down in your notes, okay? So when we're talking about sets, a set is a collection of elements often shown in braces, okay? These are the fancy little parentheses signs, okay? We call them braces, okay? Here's an example. If I want to list the set of integers, okay? I open my brace, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay? I close my set of braces. Now you'll notice that I have ... before and after. These are called ellipses. Okay? And they indicate that the elements continue in the same pattern, in this case, going in the negative direction and in the positive direction because we're dealing with the set of integers. Okay? Now, sets are made of elements. All the different items in a set are called elements. Okay? So the symbol for element is a weird looking E. Okay? This means element. Okay, so in this case, we would say -2 is an element of the set of integers. 25/100ths is not an element in the set of integers because 25/100ths is not an integer because integers are whole numbers and their opposites. Okay, so element, not an element. Okay. Okay, now here's an example. Use set notation to indicate if each of these numbers is an element of the set of rational numbers. So let's remind ourselves what rational numbers means. Okay, rational numbers are the set of numbers that can be written as the ratio of two integers. Okay? So in our first case, we have 3/4. Well, this one's already written as a ratio, so yes, it is a rational number. So I would say 3/4 is an element of the set, it's a terrible brace, of integers. Okay? Now let's move to radical 3. Is radical 3 a rational number? Hopefully you said no. Radical 3 is not a rational number. It cannot be written as the ratio of two integers. So we would say radical 3 is not an element of the set of integers. Okay? Now our third example is the number -2. Is -2 part of the set of integers? Hopefully you said yes, -2 is an element of the set of integers. Okay? So this is how we use that terminology of elements. Okay, some sets of numbers are part of a group of other numbers. This is called a subset, okay? And we use kind of a sideways U to show subset, okay? So here's an example here. Squares are a subset. The set of squares is a subset of the set of rectangles because every square is a rectangle. Squares are a special kind of rectangle, so we can say the set of squares is a subset of the set of rectangles. Okay? Now, your turn. Use the subset symbol to show the relationship between the set of rational numbers and integers. So think about the relationship between rational numbers and integers and decide what our subset needs to look like. Okay? Well, hopefully you said that integers, the set of integers is part of the set of rational numbers, so we would say integers are a subset of the set of rational numbers. Okay? Integers are part of this group, so they are a subset of this group. Okay, now we need to talk about intersection and union. Okay? Venn diagrams can help us to see intersections and unions, and you guys have used Venn diagrams before. Okay? So here's one example of a Venn diagram. If we're talking about the sets of rectangles and the sets of rhombuses, squares would be their intersection because squares are rectangles and squares are rhombuses. Okay? So this represents the intersection. The whole thing represents the union. Okay? Now this is some more terminology that you need to understand and some more symbols that you need to know. Okay, I'm going to start with union first because the symbol for union looks like a U. That's how I remember it. Union, we use the symbol that looks like a U. If we're talking about intersection, it's an upside down U. Okay? So here's another example. If I have set A contains the elements 1, 2, and 3. Set B contains the elements 2, 4, and 6. Okay? Well, I want to look at them as a Venn diagram. Okay? So my first circle on the left represents set A. 1, 2, and 3 are the elements of set A. My second circle on the right represents set B, 2, 4, and 6. Okay? Now, when I look at my two sets, I can see they both contain a 2. So that is their intersection. So I put the 2 where the circles intersect. Since set A is 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Set B, 2, 4, and 6. So the union would be all of the numbers in both sets, but since 2 is in both sets, I don't list it twice. Okay? So A, intersection with B, is the number 2. Okay? So I've got my set notation, my braces, and a 2 in my braces. Okay? A, intersection with B, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay? So I include all of the elements that are common to both. Okay? Now, if I were to ask for the intersection of two sets, and there is no intersection, if they don't have anything in common, we would use empty set notation. Okay? So if there is no intersection, then we would draw a circle with a line through it to say empty set. Okay? Okay. So here is something for you to work on. Find the intersection and the union of these two sets. Okay? Intersection, that's our symbol, that's an upside down U. Union looks like a U. Okay? Go ahead and pause and try this. Okay, so my first thing they want is the intersection. That means what do they both have that is the same? Okay? So I have 3, 5, 7, 9 over here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I see that both of them have a 3 and both of them have a 5. Okay? So I would say the intersection is 3 and 5. Okay? Now the union of them, I need to have all of the elements represented in the union. Okay? So for the union, I would say I have a 3. Oops, I'm going to start as low as they go. Okay? So I'm going to start over here at 1. 1, 2. They both have a 3, so I'm just going to represent 3 one time. 4, 5, 7, and 9. Okay? So intersection is 3 and 5, and the union is all of the elements represented. Okay, there is a chart on page 602 in your book, and it's called the set notation symbols chart. Okay, make sure you get that in your notes. It has all the different symbols that we've talked about today. Okay, after you get that in your notes, go ahead and pause this video and complete your practice set. Okay, practice set. A, they want you to indicate if the number is an element of the set of integers or not. Okay, A, you should have said that -1 is an element of the set of integers because -1 is an integer. Okay, B, 2. Okay, 2 is an element of the set of integers because 2 is an integer. 3, radical 3. Radical 3 is not an element of the set of integers because radical 3 is not an integer. Integers are whole numbers and they're opposites. So radical 3 is not an element of that set. Okay? Now, let's go to D. Use the subset symbol to show the relationship between A and B. So on D, if A is the set of triangles and B is the set of polygons, you should have said that A is a subset of B because all triangles are polygons. Okay? On E, if you'll look on E, on page 601, they give some symbols for noting the different types of numbers, counting numbers, integers, rational numbers, real numbers, and that's what they're referring to with those weird-looking letters there. Okay? So on E, if A is the set of real numbers and B is the set of rational numbers, you should have said that B is a subset of A because rational numbers are part of the set of real numbers. On F, if A is the set of vowels and B is the set of all the letters in the alphabet, then you should have said that A is a subset of B because all vowels are part of the letters of the alphabet. Okay? Okay, G and H, they want us to use Venn diagrams to illustrate this relationship and then find the intersection of A and B. Okay? So on G, we should have drawn circles for our Venn diagrams. And the first set is 3, 6, 9, 12. And set B is 5, 12, 15, 20. Hopefully you saw that 12 is the only number they have in common. And so set A over here, 3, 6, 9. And then set B, 5, 15, 20. Okay? So if they want the intersection of A and B, the only number that they have in common is the number 12. Okay? So the intersection of A and B is 12. Okay? Now on H, we have A is all parallelograms and B is all trapezoids. Your Venn diagram should look like this. Parallelograms, trapezoids. Okay? These circles, they do not even intersect. Okay? Parallelograms and trapezoids. Parallelograms have two sets of parallel lines. Trapezoids have one set of parallel lines, so they don't even have any intersection. So the union of A and B, it's the empty set. There's no intersection. Okay? In I and J, they want us to draw a Venn diagram and find the union. Okay? So on I, we should have drawn our circles overlapping. And they have in common 20 and 30. And then set A also has 10. And set B also has 40. So A union with B would be the set containing 10, 20, 30, and 40. 10, 20, 30, and 40. When we do the union, everything has to be represented. Okay? Now J was kind of different. because on set A, 2, 4, 6, 8, and continuing on, this is our set of even numbers. And then set B, 4, 8, 12, this is counting by fours, okay? So 4, 8, and 12, that's counting by fours, is actually part of the group of even numbers, which so hopefully you saw that 4, 8, 12, and on and on and on was part of the set of even numbers, okay? So they gave us 2, 4, and then 4, 8, 12. I think I'm writing this wrong. 4, 8, 12. So the way they want us to show this is, so we don't double put each number more than once in our diagram, okay? Go ahead and do 4, 8, 12. And up here in our even numbers, we'll start with the ones that aren't listed, okay? So we have 2, 4 is already here, and 4 is contained in the big circle too, if it's in the little circle. So 6, 8, 10, 12, and on and on and on, okay? So this is how we would show, this is actually showing that B is a subset of A, okay? So this would be showing the union, okay? And if we wanted to show it in set notation, we would say A union B is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay? That is the notation there. Okay? Okay. This is the end of lesson 90 explanation. Sets are a little different than what we've been doing. Spend some time memorizing those symbols. You will hit this again later in your math career, okay? So for some of you, this may be kind of your first introduction to sets, okay? Okay, you guys have a good day. See you later.